Hi everyone, it's your girl Rayvon from Love Lola. Welcome to my channel. So today we're going to be making the Azalea by Shamballa bags, and this bag is gorgeous. Okay, so yeah, this is the Azalea by Shamballa, and this bag, I don't even know what to say. Let's go over the specs just a little bit. So Shamballa considers this bag as an intermediate level. On the back we have a slip pocket. There's not a snap on the back, okay, it's just a little slip pocket right there. The instructions actually include a handle that you make from fabric that you attach with rivets. I just modified mine a little bit because I love a bamboo handle. You know, what you're gonna do. The snap does have magnetic snaps on it. It also has a zip pocket on the front. Nothing in there, but nice size zip pocket there. And then on the inside, we also have another slip pocket. It can be an iPad slip pocket if you would like to add some foam to that. I just made mine a regular slip pocket. It's a pretty nice size bag. It is 9.5 inches high. It's 12 5/8 of an inch wide. And it's 3 1/4 inch deep. I'll try it on for you. Get my hair out the way, honey. There we go. So it's a nice size bag. Bigger than what I thought it was going to be, but Shamballa's bags always wind up being a little bit bigger than what I think. So it's about what I figured, yeah. Super cute. Of course I made a crossbody strap because everything I make is crossbody strap. But it definitely could be worn over the shoulder. I think that would be cute. Yeah, over the shoulder is a vibe. Super cute. And of course, if you don't want to have a strap at all, you can definitely sport this baby by the handle. Like, how cute is this? Super cute. Yeah, so this is the Azalea. Adorable. All right, are y'all ready to go make it? Let's go. Okay, so let's go over some specs really quick. Today I am going to be sewing on my YAMATA 1341. It is an industrial cylinder arm walking foot. That's my baby. I sew all of my bags on it. It's the only machine that I own, so every aspect of every bag is on this machine. I do have a top table, a stitching table. I got it from Relic Designs on Etsy. I'll have a link for that down below. So let's go over the materials that we're using. I'm using this gorgeous faux ostrich. I got this from Bolt's Bags. I'm using this tan, it's my favorite, like cognac color vinyl. I got it from Joann's. The black and also the lining that I'm using today is Ultrafabrics, and it's available on my website. This Giraffe vinyl is from Frog Jelly. You can find them online. You also can find them on Etsy. For my zippers, I'm not sure which color I'm going to be using, but those zippers are available on my website. My lining is also Ultrafabrics, available on my website. For my piping, I'm going to be using this. This is 432 inch. I got it from Amazon. Hardware. If you have a label, get that ready. You're going to need 1-inch swivel hooks. I'm going to be using these because they look a little fancy, and this bag looks fancy to me, so I wanted to be a little fancy with it. This is available on my website. It is 1 inch. You're going to need 2 strap ends. Depending what you do, you may need 4. You know, if you make a fabric handle, you're probably going to want one on the ends of your fabric handle, and then if you make a strap, you're going to want one on the ends of your strap. You're going to need 2 magnetic snaps.
Like this?
Okay, you're going to need a couple of number 5 pull zippers. Zipper pulls, I'm not sure which ones I'm going to be using yet. That's why I have different ones out. You're going to need 2 bridges. This is going to go on the side of the bag where you can attach your swivel hook, your strap. Okay, now when it comes to the handle, we have a couple of options. So I want to show you what the options are as far as what I carry on my website. Now, this first one, you would put it in with the prongs on the top of the flap where she has the mark. So instead of using the rivets to attach the strap, you would be able to use this hardware. And you would just place that on the strap, and basically your handle, once you make it, you would slip it through here, and the other side would go through the other one. Okay, and that would be how your handle would be attached. Very, very simple. I love this piece of hardware because it's so quick and easy to do it. Now, if you decide to use this hardware, the beauty of it is you won't need to use the bridge anymore, because this piece has this attached to the back. And that's where you can attach your swivel hook. Now, this swivel hook is too big for this, because this is a really big, fancy hook. It won't fit on here, but a normal hook will fit right on there. So you wouldn't need to use your bridges on the side. You would just connect your strap to this. Now, that's an option. But I think I am going to be using a bamboo handle just because the colors that I have going on and this giraffe print just makes me think like animal, you know, blah. So I think I'm going to use this bamboo. And for this, I have this little piece and this feet piece. And what it is the part of the handle right here just goes right underneath here, and that attaches to the bag. So what you would do is attach the feet to the top of the flap where the marks are and go about your business. And then at the end, at the very end, this unscrews. And what you would do is simply take this and run it through this foot that's already attached to your bag. I think that's the route I'm gonna go. I think that's what I'm gonna do. All right, so I'm also going to be using double-sided tape and a bunch of clamps. I will have a link to everything that I use in the description box down below, so it'll be super easy for you to find it. Okay, so go ahead and mark the midpoint of all of your pieces. I did interface all of my exterior pieces with Sewfuse Plus. For my stabilizer, when I got started, I realized that I was out of my, usually I use Peltex 70, but I was out. So what I did was I grabbed some leather remnants. I always like to buy leather remnants. They're very cheap. Because I'm not really, you know, I'm kind of new with leather, so I don't like to buy expensive ones. I'll get remnants. I have a review on Modern Fabrics. They sell great size remnants for $10. Some of it, you know, it's fantastic. Other ones, like, I don't prefer the color of it. So the pieces that I'm not going to use, I keep those and I use them for stabilizer. So for my stabilizer today, I have got some nice kind of thick leather that I have placed underneath my interfacing and fused it down, and it feels fantastic. I have a link down below to a review that I did on Modern Fabric if you're interested in that. They also sell vinyl remnants for $5 and you get so much. Another option that I've used, if I get pieces that I don't like, I'll just double it up and use it as stabilizer on my bag. So you remember stabilizing, that means is that it's giving a little structure to your bag. You can use other products besides just stabilizer. You know, those old bags, they used to use cardboard. You ever cut open an old bag and see what they got in there? It's crazy. So anyway, yeah, make do with what you got. Save your money, honey, and use some remnants that you got laying around for stabilizing if you need to. Anyway, I wanted to show you really quick what the pieces look like since they are quite a few. This is the back of the bag. So this is your back exterior fabric, and this is the back top. So that's the colors you're dealing with to give you an idea of what you want to mix around. This is how the flap is going to be coming over the back. So that's the contrast colors if you're looking for something like that. For the flap, when you cut it out, the sizes are going to be a little off on the sides, but don't worry, that's correct. It threw me off for a second. Once you get it sewn together, the seam allowance is going to take care of that. All right, we've got our gusset. This is our front exterior pocket piece and our top. So that's what you're going to be working with underneath the flap. And then you've got your zipper tabs that are going to be on the side like that. Okay. Now go ahead and use your template pieces to mark everywhere that you're going to be adding something. Don't mix your front and your back pocket up because they're kind of similar, but the size is different. So I did write front and back on those because you don't want those problems, right? Yeah, go ahead and mark the center of all of your pieces. Go ahead and make marks for where you're going to be adding magnetic snaps on some of these pieces, where you're going to start your piping if you're doing piping, and so forth. If you're doing that side bridge piece, get that marked, but don't punch those holes until you have got your hardware on it and measured, because sometimes, you know, your hardware might be different from the size that you used, and you don't want to have holes in your pieces. All right, I think that covers everything. Y'all ready? Let's get started. We're going to start off with our zipper tabs. You want your 12-inch zipper. You want to fold your zipper tab so that they are wrong sides touching. And then line it up with the edge of the zipper. And now we're going to go and sew right here at 1/8 of an inch on both ends.
I put it in the basket where it's supposed to be, but this is all tangled up because of you.
Because of me? All right, once we have that joined, lift up this zipper tab and cut the rest of this. So we're cutting the bottom side of that zipper tab and also the zipper tape at about 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Repeat that to the other side. Perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead and get my magnetic snaps attached on my front zipper pocket. Okay, so let me show you how I got my markings for my handle. I went ahead and marked what she had on her template, and then I took a ruler and those 4 dots, I made a line across those 4 dots to get myself a straight line. Then I found the center up and down of the flap. Okay, so the distance of my feet for the bamboo is about 5 1/4 of an inch. So I needed to be about 2 5/8 of an inch from the center either way. So I went ahead and measured that out and made a mark. The length of the holes on the bottom are about 7/8 of an inch apart. So I went ahead and marked those 2 holes, and that's for the 2 holes that go on the bottom of here. Now I'm going to set this aside for now. Okay, now grab your front exterior pocket. Go ahead and get your female magnetic snaps installed. Also, as you can see, I've put a piece of double-sided tape along the top of there. Also, along the top of your front panel bottom, add some double-sided tape and your front pocket lining. Grab your front pocket top and get some double-sided tape along the bottom of that. Y'all, I just realized I didn't put my zipper pull on here. I'm gonna go back and get that fixed really quick. All right, that's better. So we have our front exterior pocket. I'm gonna go ahead and take the backing off of my tape. And I'm going to place my zipper right side facing down, right on top. Now grab your pocket and you're going to place it right on top of your zipper, right side facing down. All right, and we're going to go and get this attached at 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Flip it over so that the wrong sides are touching, and just kind of finger press that as smooth as you can get it. And now we're going to go back and add a top stitch at 1/8 of an inch right along our front exterior pocket. Okay, now grab your top piece that has the double-sided tape along the bottom, and we're going to place it right side facing down right on top of our zipper. Then you flip it over and attach your front bottom panel to the other side of the zipper. The front bottom panel is the correct side of the lining, is touching the correct side of the other lining that you've attached. Okay, now we're going to go and sew this at 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Just like before, finger press that. And your seams are now behind that front top piece. And let's go and get a top stitch put along this top front piece. All right, once we've got that top stitched, we're going to be going and attaching these 3 layers of fabric together. So just clip around everything, make sure that everything is lined up very well. And then we're going to go and baste around the entire thing at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, now let's grab our flaps. We are grabbing the bottom piece of the flap and the one in the middle, A2 and A1. And we are going to be placing these right sides together. And let's go ahead and add some snips just to help it fit in the curves good. All right, we're gonna go and get this attached at 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Just take your time, very slowly. Just take your time, do it very slowly, and you'll be fine. Okay, once you've got it attached, we're going to fold it so that the seam allowance is going up towards flap 2, so towards the thinner part. And then we're going to do a top stitch at 1/8 of an inch. Okay, once we've got that on, we're going to do the same thing with the next piece. I'm going to add some snips just like before. And then get these. And when you do these flaps, go ahead and join them from the center. I have marked all of my midpoints. So don't try to join it from the outside. Just mark it from the middle, join it, and then work your way out. It's just always a good idea to just line everything up from the center when you're getting pieces added together. Once we've got that attached, we're going to bend our seam allowance so that it's underneath the flap, the top part of the flap. And now we're going to go and add a top stitch at 1/8 of an inch on this top flap piece. Okay, now once you have this panel finished, you can go ahead and get some stabilizer attached to it if you would like. You may have stabilized your other flap and feel like you don't need to do both. If that's the case, then you can add another layer of interfacing on it. Whatever works for you. Okay, so for installing this hardware for my feet, I recommend, let me backtrack. If you are wanting to get a label put on your flap, I suggest you go ahead and get that done right now. This is the perfect time. Also, go ahead and use your template to get the male part of your snaps installed on that big flap, the back piece. Okay, now for installing these feet, if you're doing it my way, I would go ahead and install it all right now. Whenever you do your interfacing or your stabilizer, make sure that you use a good stabilizer because you need a stabilizer if you're putting any kind of hardware, especially feet. Now, I got premature of myself and cut a hole on my bottom flap, so now I'm going to be installing mine with both flaps together, but I wish I hadn't done that. I would recommend that you just install it on your flap. Just make sure that you use stabilizer. Now, because I'm installing it on my front and my back flap, I went ahead and added a little piece of Peltex 70 and got that added to the back of this so that I can have the correct thickness. So if I was installing it like I should have done, I would just take my feet right now, place it on top of that hole, get my screw. Actually, I go from the back side. I just place my screw through my washer and place it through the hole. And then from the front side, I would now get my foot aligned in that hole and then go back to the other side and screw it in tight. Now, if you feel a lot of shifting and moving going on, that means that you need more stabilizer. You don't want this moving around on you, okay? And then you would just screw it in and that would be it, because the next part we would do later at the end. We get this added at the end. So that would be it. You would be done. But because I put a hole in here already, because I just get ahead of myself, I am going to have to get that added later. So right now I am going to place my flaps. As always, you can leave your edges exposed or you can get them closed up. I'm choosing to close mine up. That's why I cut on the pattern piece. There's two lines, two options. The dotted line is if you're going to be closing up your seam, and the first line is for exposed. I'm matching up my midpoints. Now my flap is quite a bit longer than my back flap is quite a bit longer than my front piece. So I am going to just trim it down to my front piece. I think that's the most important piece, right? My seam allowance may have been a little bit off when I added my flaps together, or maybe it's my material, you know? There's a lot of different factors that come into play. As long as I have enough room for my seam allowance for the bottom of my magnetic snap, then I'm fine. And I do. So I'm not going to worry about that. I think we're good. Alright, and I'm going to go and sew this together at 1/4 of an inch seam allowance along the sides and back up. Alright, once we have this sewn together, I went ahead and trimmed down my edges to 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to gently turn this out. Hey! I see you're still watching. Awesome! Don't forget, if you find this video helpful in any way, go ahead and click the like button for me. Thanks. Okay, let's get back to sewing. Alright, take your time and gently get your seams turned out. I mean, gently play around with your seams so that you can get them smoothed out. Get those corners really good. Okay, now I'm going to use my little tool I got from Amazon to get my corners just as nice and crisp as I can. I have a link for this tool down below in the description box. See that? It does a really good job of getting seams flattened out. I love it. Okay. I'm also going to press where the seams joined on the side because they seem to get a little thick. So just take your time and get your flap, smooth it out really good. All those seams, you don't want any thick looking parts causing distortions, right? You want everything to look really smooth. Okay, now what I'm going to do is push this as flat as I can. I'm even going to go ahead and put a couple of clips along the edge. And I'm going to use the holes that I made on the front to make my holes on the back as well, because I'm going to be getting my hardware installed. Again, if I can go back in time, I wouldn't do this. I would have just installed it on my top piece. Oh well, live and you learn. Okay, and now I'm going to do what I showed you earlier. It's just going to be a little bit more difficult because I'm working through the inside of the flap. So my screw is going to come in from the back. So screw on the back. Now I'm going to place my washer over those screws. I'm just filling around, glancing inside, okay? Now I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to place these holes on top. Right on top of that. There we go. Perfect. Now I'm going to grab my feet and place the holes directly over those screws. Slowly flip it over. I'm sorry, y'all, my battery died. So what I did was I went ahead and finished getting my feet installed. And then I pinned around my flap and went ahead and got my top stitch added around the sides, the bottom, and back up. Now we want to grab our top back piece, our back panel piece, the top piece. We want it to be right side facing up. The wider part is at the bottom. Grab your flap, match up the midpoints, and get those clamped together. And now we're going to get that attached at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, now grab your back panel bottom and you're going to line up the straight edge. Your panel is right side facing down, so the right sides are touching. Match it up in the middle. Get it pinned. All right, now we are going to press our seam allowance so that it is going down behind the back piece, the bottom piece I mean. And now we're going to add a top stitch at 1/8 of an inch right along the top of there on this bottom piece. Okay, now let's grab our back pocket exterior and our back pocket lining. We're going to place these right sides together. You can connect it. Just like before, you're going to cut 3 notches along the curve of your exterior. I'm not going to use my it's very tight when I just make it more. Then you just have 4, you can do this. Alrighty, so grab your back pocket lining piece. I accidentally grabbed my main lining, so just make sure that you're grabbing the right pieces because they all, they look kind of similar. So I've got my back lining piece connected to my back exterior pocket, right sides touching. All right, we're going to get this sewn together at 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. All right, cut a few slits along the curve. Okay, now we're going to flip that around and massage our seams out. Get it? And go get a top stitch sewn across that top at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay. Now grab your back panel and we're going to take this piece that we just did and place it right on top. And now go around the entire thing. All right, once I've got it attached, once we've got it pinned, now we're going to go and baste around the entire thing from right here, this corner, back up to that corner at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get my piping put on. I've marked the midpoint of my piping. I'm going to match that up with the midpoint of my bag. And I'm going to start pinning it. Now if you need to, you can go ahead and cut some slits when you get around the curves of your piping. Sometimes we need to do that, just to help it kind of ease around those corners. To make my cording, I just took my fabric that I had cut and I placed my cording in the middle of it, and then I folded it in half, and then I just did a top stitch along the long edge to close it up. Now I'm attaching it to my bag. And my exposed edge is lining up with the exposed edge of the bag. Massage this a little bit so it can go around those curves for me nicely where I make those slits. If you're new at piping, another thing that you can do is add double-sided tape. When you attach that, I used to do that quite a bit when I first started doing piping, and that definitely helps a lot. Okay, now when you get to the corners, all you want to do is have this veer off. So I'm just going to take it and gently pull it to the side like that. Pin it and we're good to go. Alright, now we're going to go and get this attached. I've changed my foot out to my narrow foot, and I'm just going to get it attached at about 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. So I use metal clips for my piping. They're a little bit harder to get off of the material, but I like it because it holds my material together without shifting better than the plastic clamps do. So it's a little bit more work to get them off, but there's no moving around and shifting when I use those. I do have a link to those down below, like everything else. Amazon. That little bitty piece that's sticking out just a little bit more where we added that zipper tag, just clip it. You know, just cut down, straight down the side and get rid of that. Okay? And now we're going to go and get our piping added to this side as well. Okay, so I stabilized my pattern pieces in the beginning, and I should not have done that. If I could go back, I would tell you that you should wait until right before you put your piping on. No. That this should be the point where you get your stabilizer put on. And when you get your stabilizer put on, you should have drawn a line where your there's a drop line on all of the pattern pieces at the very top. You'll see that drop line. If you don't want to go and trace it, I mean, you could bend it over and trace it, or it's 3/4 of an inch from the top. So you should go and get your drop line drawn on the top of your main panel pieces and your gusset. Once you've got your drop line drawn on, now you want to add your stabilizer. And when you add that stabilizer, you want to place it right at that line. And I believe that's because we're going to be doing a drop-in lining. I don't know why I didn't put that together. And usually when you do a drop-in lining, it's nice to have that stabilizer there so you can fold it over and not have to worry about having a straight line. So, yes, this is when you should add your stabilizer to your main panels and your gusset, and you want to make sure that you put that stabilizer at the line, your drop line. Also, go ahead and draw a drop line on your lining pieces as well. Okay, I've got my piping attached. I'm going to just snip off the ends. Isn't that so pretty? Oh my gosh, I love giraffe print so much. I just wanted to include it somehow. You know, not too much because then it gets kind of out of control, but I don't want a whole bag in giraffe print, but I like a little accent. I really like the way they came out, so I'm excited about that. This is custom. You know when they say you can't get this in the store, baby, this is custom. This is custom, honey. You know, nobody else is going to have this purse, baby. Nobody but you. Okay, so I've got that done. Go ahead and get your bridge installed on your gussets. Aren't those pretty? These are beautiful. I love these bridges. These are the bigger size. If you look for it on my website, I have 2 sizes. This is the bigger size. All right. Moving on. Grab our gussets. We want them to be right sides touching. And we're going to get this sewn together at 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, now we're going to open this up. Press that open. And we're going to go and get a top stitch along both sides of the seams at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, okay, on both sides. Now we're going to get our gusset added to our panels. I'm going to do my front side first. We want them to be right sides touching. I'm going to match up the midpoint first. And we're not going to do like normal where we do the midpoint and do the edge and blah, blah, blah. No, she said to start from the center and work our way out. I'm going to put some clips on my gusset just to make it a little bit easier to go around those curves. All right, now we're gonna go and we're gonna clamp this. One side first. All right, once I've got everything attached, I'm going to go and, or I have all my clamps on, I'm gonna go and get this sewn on at 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. If you have a little bit of trouble, she said you can baste it at 1/8 of an inch first and then go back and get it added at 1/4. All right, I've got my gusset connected to both of my main panels. Now we're gonna turn this baby out and make sure that we haven't missed any seams or anything along the piping. All right, looks good. I think I'm gonna call it for today and get this finished up tomorrow. Okay, let's move on to our lining. If you would like to do a zippered pocket, I have a link down below in my description box on how to do that. Right now, I'm going to be doing my slip pocket. Now, if you want this slip pocket to be an iPad slip pocket, then go ahead and do some kind of interfacing to this pocket in between it. Some kind of flex foam or something to soften the area for your iPad. I'm not going to be using this purse for any kind of iPad storage. I'm just going to make a normal slip pocket. So I've got my iPad slip pocket pieces, the templates cut out, 2 of them, they're facing each other, and I'm going to get them sewn together at 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. All right, let's flip this over. Work out that seam. And now we're going to go and do a top stitch at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, so if you were doing an iPad, then you would take that stabilizer and just slip it right in this area before attaching it to the main lining panel. So let's get it attached and baste it on. Okay, now we're gonna get this connected just like we did the exterior. First, we're going to do our gusset, right sides touching, and get this sewn together at 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, now we're going to continue like we did before. Find our midpoints. You want your gusset to be right side touching with your panel piece. Match it up in the middle. And then match it all the way up to the edges on both sides. Once I get this clipped, I'm going to match it up and then I'm going to go and sew it. I'm going to start at 1/4 of an inch at the top, and as I go down, I'm going to increase that to about 1/2 of an inch to help the bag not to have a saggy lining. I'll probably increase it to about 5/8 of an inch just to be safe. Okay, y'all, we're almost finished. What we want to do is for this final part, I already put tape on mine, but you know how after you sew it together, you have your seams at the top? You want to press those seams open. And if you want, you can, after you press them open, you can sew a little top stitch to hold them open. I didn't do that, I just pressed mine open. Once they're open, I place double-sided tape along the top edge of both my exterior and my lining. Now we're going to remove the backing, and then we're just going to press our material down so that the top edge touches the line that we drew earlier from the pattern piece that said drop line. Okay. So just folding it over so that the tip of the lining, or the tip of, you know, whatever pattern piece you're doing, is now touching that line that we drew earlier. Now, depending on your material, you may have to go and put a clip on top of it after you fold it over just to make sure it stays. And do the same thing to your exterior. Okay, once you've got them both folded over, you're just going to take your lining and drop it inside. Hence the name drop lining. Okay. Get it in there nice and snug. And now match up your gusset corners as best as you can. These huge clamps are perfect for stuff like this because these seams are getting pretty thick. I got these off of Amazon. As with every video, there is a link to these clamps and everything else that I use down there. Okay, now if you're going to be making your handle the way that she did, then follow the instructions. It's super easy. You can do your 2 pieces and then put them on top of each other to form a strap like she did, or you can make your strap the way you would do a normal strap, 4 inches long, fold it in the middle again, whichever way you prefer. Once you've done that, use the pattern to punch your holes for your rivets. You should have already marked the holes on your rivets on your flap on the exterior, and punch your holes and then attach the rivets through your handle, through the bag, through the flap top, and you're good to go. I did my bamboo handle, so I'm going to get that added really quick. I'm going to take this one, let's see. I want my hole to be on the outside. I mean my screw on the outside, so let me see which side. So I'm just going to slide this in like that. There we go. Slide this one in. All right. So I'm going to place the hole, line up the holes in the bamboo with the hole on the hardware. Then I'm just going to slide it through all of the holes. Once it gets to the other hole, it needs to be screwed in. Okay. And then repeat the same thing to the other side. Line up the holes. Screw it in as tight as you can. Here we go. And we're good to go. Gosh, gorgeous. Oh my God, this is so pretty. All right, I'm gonna have to get some pictures. Oh, we gotta make the strap still. Okay. Let's get the strap knocked out. All right, y'all, we're almost done. Let's get our strap sewn. So once you've got your strap cut, I'm doing mine, I want my strap to be 1 inch, so I've cut mine 4 inches long. And then I went and drew a line down the middle, long way. And now I'm gonna fold into that line. And then fold over once more. Now you don't want to quite touch the line because you don't want your strap to start to warp. Just go almost to that line. Okay, so you're not touching the line, you're going right to the outside. All right, now let's get our hardware attached. Okay, first thing you want to do is grab your adjuster. Place one end of your strap up and over. And if you want, you can go and add a couple of stitches right there, or you can do rivets, whatever you prefer. I'm going to add a couple of stitches. Okay, take your strap and have it facing wrong side up and run your hand down it. When you get to the other end, place your swivel hook through it. And now run it back to the other side. Make sure you don't twist it. When you get to the other side, you want to run it up. And over. Okay. There we go. Now I'm going to grab my other end. And I'm going to place it over and under. Okay. Again, you can go and add a stitch or you can get a rivet put on. I am going to rivet this end and I'm going to put my end strap on. And ta-da! We are done. Grab your gorgeous bag. Gorgeous. Ah, I love it. Let me go get some pictures for you. All right, that's it. I hope that you love your bag as much as I love mine. Don't forget, if you found this video helpful, inspiring, or entertaining, then please take a moment to hit the like button, and even better, you can subscribe. Thanks again. Bye.